Hi everyone, Jasmine here, and thanks for joining me for our October blogging Q&A. Yay! I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Jasmine. Hi, I've been blogging for about 13 years now. I have two blogs, Miss Millennium Magazine and Blogging Money Life, and I love talking about blogging. I do this Q&A once a month because I love the opportunity to talk with you guys. I love hearing what other people are talking about when it comes to blogging. And I like talking about what I've been working on too. For each of these sessions, I answer your questions live. So feel free to post them in the chat in real time and I'll make sure to get answers to those. I also answer questions from anyone who posted questions in my Facebook group, Bloggers Supporting Bloggers. I'll go ahead and share a link to that here as well. If you're not in my Facebook group, feel free to join. And I also come with a topic. So every month, after I answer questions or if I'm waiting in between questions, I usually give a tip of something that has been on the top of my mind that I'd love to share with other bloggers. And I think today is going to be a really good one. So thanks for joining me. That was a really quick recap as far as who I am, what I do, and how I usually run these blogging sessions. So I'm excited to be here. I hope you are too. If you're here, feel free to post in the chat. Let me know what your name is, where you are in the world, what your blog is, what you blog about. And yeah, I'll make sure to get a response. Now, I see that we already have some questions that were posted in. Thanks so much, Lurleen. We can start with those and feel free to post any additional questions that come along the way. So yeah, I'll do those first, then I'll move on to my questions from the Facebook group and then move on to my topic for the day. So it should be a good time. All right, let's start with our questions. First question is from Lurleen. Hi there, thanks again for doing this. Do you have any resources or courses for Google Web Stories? This is a good question. No, I do not, unfortunately. I feel like Google Web Stories, here's why they work. Because not everyone knows about Google Web Stories. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of information out there about Google Web Stories. So I can give you a crash course based on what I have learned. And this is all just for me doing trial and error with my blogs. I am using Google Web Stories on both of my blogs right now, Miss Millennium Magazine and Blogging Money Life. I started with Blogging Money Life in February. Blogging Money Life is my newer blog. I've only had it for a few years, and it's a travel and blogging resource. And Miss Millennium Magazine, I've had that one for over a decade. And for whatever reason, I started with Blogging Money Life for that blog. Now, something that's interesting about starting on Blogging Money Life is I wasn't getting a ton of traffic to that site. So I felt like it was a better way for me to measure its success. And I have more control over it just because it's so new. So I made sure that I incorporated SEO tactics in it. I'm following all the new rules. There's no real errors on that website. So it's a really good testing ground for trying something new. Now, for web stories, I'll tell you, I was doing one new web story a day, Monday through Friday. And I did that for a month. And for that month, it didn't do anything. Nothing changed. I was just doing these stupid web stories and they were taking forever. And about a month and a half into me doing the web stories, I finally saw some of my stories start to take off. And it was awesome because I was not getting any traffic from Google Discover. And all of my traffic from Google Discover comes from web stories. To date, half of my organic traffic that I get to Blogging Money Life comes from Google Web Stories. So what works, what doesn't? As far as web stories that have performed well for me, I focus on creating web stories that are pretty much a synopsis of blog posts I have already written. So that's the first. If you have a blog post that does well from an SEO perspective, those are the ones you want to do a Google Web Story for. Because if you're going to rank well on Google search, it is high likelihood that you're going to do well for Google Web Stories because it's Google. They're still going by a lot of the same search engine optimization rules, and that has proven to be true for me. So they're usually between what am I saying? They're usually between 5 and 8 pages. If you have affiliate links in your web stories, all of my articles that have affiliate links, I have affiliate links in my Google Web Stories. Make sure you disclose your affiliate links. And I make sure to, if I'm, for example, if I'm doing a list article and I have a different page for every item on that list, I'll have the title of the item, I'll have a quick description of it, and then I'll say, to get this item, click here. And that's what the call to action is on that particular story. And on the last page of it is, do you want to read the full article for this web story? And if the answer is yes, they can click it and they can go to the article. This has done so well for me. And if you're wondering what the heck are you talking about with Google Web Stories, or what does it look like? You're describing all this stuff. I can show you exactly what one looks like. So give me a second. I'm going to pull up my site, Blogging My New Life, and show you one of my web stories. How's it sound? So let's see here. Here is one I'm going to open up. All right, while that's opening, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Share. All right, this is supposed to be a web story. So let me just go to my web stories here. And I go to read more. I have a web stories link to all my web stories on my homepage. You don't have to do this. It's more so just for me to be convenient. Web stories are mostly seen on mobile devices, so that's why it looks like this on a desktop. As you can see, it automatically goes through. I have a call to action at the bottom of every page. Most of them are saying to read the full article, but for this one, for example, it says learn more. I can click on that button to learn more about that particular item on this list. So the title of this, I think, was 5 influencer hubs you should check out. And each one just shows you, each influencer hub. If I wanted to skip ahead a little bit faster, I can do that as well. And the full article has 10 influencer marketing hubs. So if they wanted to read more, they can click through to it. And now they're on my original article, which I'll share that screen with you here. So this is what it looks like when people actually go through. Now, you may be asking, well, do they actually do this? Do people click through to the article? Yes, yes, they do. I usually see, so let's say, for example, if I see 100 people go to my Google Web Story, I usually see about a third of that traffic click through and go to the actual original article. So it helps in that regard to make sure that you have that call to action at the bottom of every page, like I just showed you, and then this part at the end as well, and have the original number. Like I showed you 5, but they're actually 10 influencer marketing hubs. So that helps draw in the reader to actually go through. So there were 5 in this, but it shows you 10 if you go to the original article. So this has worked very well for me. Now, occasionally, what happens is some of your web stories go viral, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. I've had multiple do this. It happens for me. Initially, it was happening maybe once a week. I had one go viral because I told you I was publishing 5 a week. And recently, I have probably one every 2 weeks that takes off. And the thing about web stories is they have a short life. Sometimes I think the longest one that has driven a lot of traffic for me has been like a week and a half. So it doesn't last a long time getting that boost from web stories. But what does last a long time is that organic traffic you're going to get to your original article. So there's something about it where Google sees that you got a lot of traffic from web stories, and now I start getting more organic traffic to my article that where the web story went crazy. So yeah, those are my tips. If you are interested in looking at my web stories and seeing like how do I set them up, feel free. I will share the link here so you can see my Google Web Stories on Blogging Money Life, just because it's so easy to access. And I hope that's helpful. Let me know if there's a specific question you have in regard to web stories. Let me know. All I have done is done like some searches, but mostly I heard about web stories from talking to other bloggers. I'm in different groups. I have a blogging mastermind group I'm a part of. And one of my good blogging buddies told me about web stories, and she had to like explain all to me because I was like, I don't even know what the heck this is. So yeah, that's a good thing that there's not a lot of resources out there for it, because that means everyone's not doing it. And that means there's a lot of opportunity for you to harness a lot of that traffic. So good question. All right, let's see what other questions we have. What are external backlinks? Okay, we're gonna go through backlinks. So like all blogging terms, I feel like there's like the positive and negative, the inverse and the, I guess, outverse, I don't know. But external backlink, I can't talk about external backlinks without talking about internal backlinks. So a backlink is pretty much when someone links from one site to another site. So if I wrote a blog post and then I linked to the Huffington Post, that's a link. That's a backlink. Now, an external backlink is when I am linking to a website that is not my own. Now, the benefit of internal backlinking. Now, there's a lot of talk about internal backlinking, and every single blog post you have on your site should have internal backlinks. And an internal backlink is when you are linking to other pages on your website. And you do this because, one, it helps your website be sticky. You want someone to read an article and be like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting too. And they click through and they read another blog post and they click through and they keep reading. And next thing you know, they're on your website for like an hour because they've been doing all these little internal backlink clickings and they're just on your site. So that's the functional reason. The second reason is you don't want orphaned pages. And what is an orphan page? It's when you have a blog post on your site that is not linked to any other content on your website. So it's hard for anyone to make it to that site because they're not following those channels to go back to your older content. And you don't want orphan pages, because I don't know if Google harms you for having orphan pages or not, but I know that in SEMrush, they have that as a list of items for you to look out for. Like, hey, this is how many orphan pages you have. You may want to put some internal links to some other blog posts, specifically ones that are getting more traffic, so that your orphan pages start getting more traffic as well. So all that to say, an external backlink is when you link to a site that is not your own. Now, why would someone do an external backlink? I already talked about what the benefit is of an internal backlink. Well, the external backlink shows your credibility. So if I wanted to rank for an article about, let's say, best movie theaters in San Diego, and I have a list of 50 movie theaters in San Diego. However, there are about 50 other articles that are linking to best movie theaters in San Diego. Well, Google can look at yours and say, well, you're linking to all these places already that all these other articles did backlinks to. So I'm just going to put your article up top. Yours is the most relevant. You have a lot of the same things as the other ones. And of course, there's more that goes into it than that. It's your domain authority. It's how it's written. It's a structure. But that's a very simple way to think about the benefit of external backlinks. One, to improve your SEO and your credibility as well. When people are reading your content, they know that, oh, this person did their research. I don't have to go to other blog posts because they have all these links to some credible places. So that's an external backlink, and that's why you should use them. So good question. Oh, your second question is, how many do we need for an article? It depends. It really does depend on what type of article is it. If it's a link article, a list article where you are listing off top 10 something, of course you're going to have at least 10 links to other places in that article. If you're writing something that's just, this is my review on this movie, you're probably going to link to the movie like on Netflix or something. And then, the rest of it is just whatever. I don't think there's a specific number you need to have. Just think about backlinks for building your credibility. Look at what the competition is doing, who's writing content that's very similar to yours. And then also think about who you're linking to. So you don't want to link to a resource where it's a spammy website and they're not getting good information, because that can harm your site from a link perspective. So it depends. There's no set rule for how many backlinks you should have on a website. So good questions. Good questions, Darlene. All right. I have a question from Nina Wilkins. Hey, Nina. Hey, Jasmine. My name is Nina, and I'm always excited to attend your Q&As. I have 2 questions. First question is, what is the best way to go about updating old blog posts? Oh, okay. Really good question. And Nina, I remember you. So thanks for joining me again for another Q&A. So the best way to go about updating old blog posts. I love, and hold on a second. I'm going to tell you, I think it's called Blogging Millionaire. And he has a really good podcast on, I can't even say it's a podcast, it's a series of podcasts on steps to improve old content. And his way that he does it is very good in regard to which article should you attack first, and let me see here, which ones to attack first, what type of updates should you be making to your content, and yeah, just a lot of stuff. It's 4 different episodes. So here, let me grab the link and I'm going to share it with you. Okay. So the link's in the chat, and it's to that first episode, but there's 4 episodes. But the best way to go about updating old blog posts, you don't want to update the top 10. I'm gonna give you like a summed up version of this series, but I highly recommend listening to the podcast. The first is, don't go for your top 10, because even though your top 10 could be doing great, and you think, well, I can only improve this if I make adjustments, you run the risk of adjusting an article and it having a negative impact on your traffic. So don't go for the top 10. Start from numbers, article 11 and down, as far as like how much traffic that article is getting. And then when you are updating old blog posts, it really depends. Like when I update articles from like 2 years ago, things, when I had more knowledge and I'm doing better as far as like understanding blogging, what works and what doesn't. Some things I usually look at is making sure the keywords are still up to date. Are there new keywords I can add that can impact the traffic for my blog? I'll update images. Maybe if I need new social media images that I want to include, so I can share more on social media and get more traffic. I check for any grammar, spelling mistakes. I feel like you're a better writer every year that you write, so you may look at your content and cringe. So that's usually something I focus on. I double check for broken links, which that happens all the time. External links, internal links, especially if you have affiliate links in your content, that is something that is like a regular friggin' job. So make sure you're checking for links, making sure your images aren't broken, making sure you have alt tags on your images, those type of things. If I'm editing content from like 8 years ago, oh my God. First of all, it's a little bit torturous because you're looking like, I can't believe I even put this out in the universe for people to see. Like, this is embarrassing. For that, I do everything I just mentioned, but I also do formatting changes. I've had like multiple brand changes with new logos, new colors for my blog, so I have to update those things. Grammar, spelling, of course. I do a bunch of SEO things since I probably didn't do any SEO work 8 years ago. So I'm fixing things like that. Other things I'm fixing. Making sure that I have images in the article with alt tags so I can still generate more traffic through my images. And something else else I like to do too is I'll embed different YouTube videos into my content, because that's another way for you to get more organic traffic to your articles. So there's a number of things you can update. I think the biggest tip is making sure that you don't focus on the top 10, so you don't ruin your top traffic, and focus on content that is after the top 10. Another thing I will focus on too when it comes to updating old blog posts is keep seasonality in mind. An example I have for Miss Millennium Magazine, we've been around for so long, and I've written multiple Halloween articles every year. So around September, I start going through my old Halloween content and updating it and republishing it, so that when people start looking for Halloween costumes, or they're looking for ideas for Halloween parties to throw, my articles start coming up nice and fresh for them. So hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if you have more questions, Nina. And your second question you have here is there a limit to the number of brands you work with when it comes to affiliate links on your blog? No. And it depends. This is another thing too. Like, it really does depend on what type of content it is. What type of blog do you have? I give the example again of a list article. If you're listing out top 25 televisions, if you're looking to buy a smart TV this year, you're going to have at least 25 affiliate links in that article. And if you use like tools like Yoast or SEMrush, sometimes they'll say, oh, you have too many links in your article. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Get out of here. I know sometimes the fault behind that is the more affiliate links you have, the more it can impact the amount of organic traffic you get to your blog. That could be true. So that's something to keep in mind. So, yeah, if you have a tool like SEMrush telling you like it's too many links and you want to get organic traffic to that article, heed whatever advice they give you. But I personally don't let that limit me. I have affiliate links in almost every post I have on my website. So yeah, I don't think that there's a limit to the number of brands I work with, as long as it makes sense, as long as it's not like super spammy. And you're writing, for example, a review article on one product, but then you link to like 20 different products. That's a situation where I don't think it would make sense to have a ton of affiliate links on your blog. So hopefully that answers your question. I saw Lurleen just showing a little love. Thank you. And then it's little hearts. Another question. Do you know anything about the web stories sitemap? I don't. And it's so funny because I told you I've been doing web stories since February of this year. And I only just recently, like in the last month, started using my web stories sitemap in Google Web Stories. So not web stories, Google Search Console. So yeah, I don't know anything about that. So sorry, I don't have an answer for you when it comes to web stories sitemap. Okay, Nina said, you said the first 10 meaning the most traffic. What if none of your posts have much traffic? Yes, meaning the most traffic. And you should still know what your top 10 articles are. So just go into Google Analytics, see what the top 10 are, and don't make any adjustments to that content. It doesn't matter if you're not getting much traffic. Think about this. Like, let's say that most of your traffic on your blog is coming from 2 articles. And so let's say you're getting 100, I'm just using basic numbers. You're getting 100 page views a month, 50 from this article, 50 from the other. And you make adjustments to that second article, and now you're not getting any traffic to that second one. You just cut your website traffic in half. So that's a problem. That makes an impact for your advertising. It makes an impact for if you want to do sponsored posts. It's a dangerous play. Make adjustments to your older content. See if some of that shoots up to the top. And let's say if number 10 becomes number 11, now go to number 11 and work on that piece of content to edit. That's the process you want to go with, because you don't want it to impact your traffic in a negative way. But good question. All right. How's it going with Rank IQ? Do you stick with 0 to 20 domain authority for articles? Rank IQ is awesome. And it's been awesome. So you guys probably are aware Google had this major update this month. I think it's the useful content. It's called a useful content update. And a lot of bloggers are impacted. I thought it was impacting more travel bloggers, but I'm in the Rank IQ Facebook group and I'm in the Mediavine Facebook group. And this is like all that everyone is talking about. And what I've noticed is not only was my blogs not impacted by it, like not negatively at least, I started to see a traffic spike when it comes to traffic posts, useful content update. When I broke it down as to why I had a traffic spike, now this is the interesting part. Blogging Money Life actually did see a decrease, a substantial decrease in organic traffic. But my saving grace were my Google Web Stories. My Google Web Stories are what made it so that my traffic stabilized, which was just an interesting thing. So Google Web Stories for the win. And what I found is like there's a study that was done that said bloggers who are Mediavine and they use Rank IQ were the ones that weren't seeing as big of an impact on their blogs because they're going for shorter, longer tail keywords that are low competition, and they didn't get hurt as much from people who are going for those short tail keywords. Do I stick with 0 to 20 DA for articles? Yes, for Blogging Money Life, I do. And Blogging Money Life is my smaller blog. We're under 20 for our domain authority. So I do stick with that. And for Miss Mill, I do the 0 to 20 DA and I go above that as well because it's a bigger site with a bigger domain authority. So yes, Rank IQ is awesome. It is a regular part of my blogging process. Every single month, I make sure that I am finding new keywords and outlining articles so I can start writing new content for the next month. And yeah, it's just a process. I can't see myself ever being without Rank IQ. I know that's a strong recommendation. I'm going to share my link. It is an affiliate link for anyone who is interested in it, but you can call me the Rank IQ cult, whatever the heck you want. I've recommended so many people to Rank IQ. I think they're amazing. And I have to thank them for the fact that my website has not dropped in traffic considerably since the whole Google update. And I've heard that from a lot of other Rank IQ bloggers. So if you're not on Rank IQ, I highly recommend you check it out. Use my affiliate link and come back and let me know what you think of it. How's it going for you, Lurleen? You tell me. I know you are on Rank IQ. I would love to know how it's been working for you as well. Let's see. The only thing that is a competitive score keeps changing in key search, but I still love key search. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing about keyword research. You remember when I talked about updating articles, and one of the things I do is look for new keywords to add. That is one of the hardest things to stay on top of, especially when you have an article that is good for SEO and is good for affiliate content. And then it starts getting more competitive, the keyword that you are ranking for. But what I have found is the articles where I really take off in regard to traffic, I never rank for just one keyword. I rank for like 20 different keywords. One keyword may only be getting me like 50 people clicking through. Another one may be getting me like 20. There may be some only getting me like 5 clicks, per month. But having a variety of different keywords that you're ranking for, that's relevant to the topic, of course, is how you stay on top. But you'll start to see that dwindle when your top keywords are more competitive because you have people with higher domain authorities that are trying to rank for the same keyword. Then you start to lose that traffic. So that's why you have to make sure you're staying on top of content like that and going to see, are there new keywords? Maybe people are searching for a different term. And then putting that into the platform. I usually start with SEMrush personally, just to see are people actually searching for this and get an idea for how much search traffic a keyword is getting. And then I plug it into Rank IQ, because what's great about Rank IQ is you put in a keyword and they'll say, okay, for this keyword, here are the 50 other keywords you need to put in this article to be competitive. And I think that's why they do so well, because it's not just one keyword you want to rank for. It's many keywords. So hopefully that's helpful, but I'm glad you shared that. Great. All right. I don't see any additional questions in the chat, but go ahead and post more if you guys have them. I'm going to answer my questions from the Facebook group, and then I will get into my topic for the day. All right. So I only have one question from the Facebook group. And the question is, I'm so new to this. I don't know how well I can answer, but I would like to know how backlinks work. I see everyone posting about it, but I have no idea how it actually works. It's funny because I saw the question you asked about a backlink clearly. And I feel like I talked about backlinks quite a bit here today. But what I will say is I will answer the question as far as what is the hype about backlinks? Is this something we actually have to do? Why do people do this? And why do they put so much emphasis on backlinks? I think the first thing we need to know is what are the reasons why they're like backlinks are relevant. We already talked about internal backlinks being good, so you don't have orphaned pages and that your old content doesn't get lost in the sauce. So that's the first reason. Having external backlinks is great because now you look more official. Google pays attention to that and they say, well, based on all these other articles, an article that has no external backlinks talking about a topic versus an article that does on search, Google is going to pay more attention to the one that has external backlinks. So those are the reasons for that. But the big reason, the reason why people are going and writing guest posts on different blogs and trying to get published in big websites like Forbes and Huffington Post is because they want to improve their domain authority. Now, I know Lorraine posted a question about DA for articles. That's domain authority. And the way domain authority works is it's pretty much a score. It's a popularity contest, honestly. And the higher your domain authority, the number being between 0 and 100, the more likely you are to show up in search. So you can still show up in search even if you have a domain authority that's like 10 or 5. It really just depends if the people who are also trying to rank for that keyword have a lower domain authority than you or a close domain authority to yours, you can still rank on the top. So that's one of the criteria that Google is looking at to see how credible you are when it comes to the content you publish. Now, if I write an article and I said all the right things, right? And then there's another person who writes a similar article, but not as good as mine, and their domain authority is twice the number of mine, there's a high likelihood they're still going to show up higher than me on Google. So this is the power of domain authority. It means that your credibility is so much higher with Google, and you're going to show up higher on search engines. But it's more than that too. It's one of the criteria that brands look for when they want to work with you. So they may ask you, what is your domain authority? And you giving them a number just shows like your credibility. There's a lot of factors that go into your domain authority as well, like how old is your URL on your website. And then it's, like I said, it's a popularity contest. So you can increase your domain authority by having links on websites that have a higher domain authority than yours. So it's almost like this higher domain authority website is vouching for you. So if I have a domain authority of 10, and then I post my article on a website with a link back, a do follow link, by the way, a do follow link back to my website, now my website can go from a 10 to a 15. Who knows? It really depends on the topic and what the keyword is that you're anchoring. But it's a good way to build your domain authority. And having a high domain authority is good for credibility as well as getting more organic traffic. So it is definitely something you want to focus on with your blogging journey, as well as just growing, just growing your blog for traffic. Okay, really good questions. If you guys have more questions, feel free to post them in the chat. If you come up with questions along the way while I'm talking, you can do that too. But I'm going to get into the part of this session where I talk about my topic for the month. So something that I know I've talked a lot about that I think is so important that a lot of bloggers miss. And that is making sure that you're consistently publishing content. And that's something that I've been working very hard on for both of my blogs, making sure that I'm publishing on the same days, same times for both blogs, not just with my blog posts, but also with my Google Web Stories. And that's a huge haul. But once you get ahead and you have content that's being published, you have more time to do other things in your blog. And there are a lot of things you can do in your blog. And something that I always wondered when I was first getting started with blogging, it's like, what are these bloggers doing all the other times? I mean, of course, you have to publish content and then make sure you schedule that content on social media and set it up in an automated way so that's consistently being shared. But there are a number of other things that still have to be done in the meantime. So I want to share with you guys what I've been doing when I'm not writing new content to publish or updating old content to publish. And if you're not doing some of these things, it may be something you want to add to your to-dos. Okay. So I have some notes here. The first thing I want to say that I focus on is fixing problems. This is something that it's not fun. It's not something that you're going to be like, oh, I get so much joy from. I mean, some people you may get a lot of joy from, but it's like just things that you have to do. I love SEMrush for this, and I'll give you guys the link to my SEMrush affiliate. And SEMrush is nice because they'll give you can do a site audit on your blog, and they'll give you a score based on how many errors and issues they find. And what's great about SEMrush is that you don't have to go out to every single blog post on your site and search for the problems. They'll say you have 400 broken links. You're missing alt tags on these 30 images. You have links for affiliates that are not working. And those are things that are so important, not just from an SEO perspective, because Google is also paying attention to the things that are broken on your website and rating your credibility against that. But also, I have found that for some of these things, making those adjustments means a direct increase in the number of things. So, for example, I have two blogs. One blog, Blogging Money Life, gets half the amount of traffic that my bigger blog, Miss Millennium Magazine, gets. I promote affiliates on both of these articles, on both of these blogs, and I'm an Amazon affiliate for both. Even though my bigger blog, Miss Millennium Magazine, gets double the amount of traffic that Blogging Money Life does, Blogging Money Life makes double the amount of income in Amazon affiliate sales than does Miss Millennium Magazine. Why is this? I am publishing more content on Miss Mill. I have affiliate links in almost every piece of content that I have. How is that even possible? And I'll tell you why. Broken freaking links. I have gone through this month and fixed broken affiliate links for Amazon. And within a couple of weeks, I've seen my affiliate clicks and income increase like by double. So this is something that is not fun to do. It's not exactly like, oh, this is like awesome, but you will see a huge impact. The only reason I know what affiliate links are broken, because of course, like SEMrush will tell you which links are broken on your website, but it won't determine like if this is an affiliate link versus a broken link to an external website or an internal website. It just say these are the broken links. I use a tool called Affiliate, and Affiliate has a section, a report that is just for broken Amazon links. And why broken Amazon links? Because Amazon changes stuff all the friggin' time, as I'm sure everyone knows. Amazon changes stuff all the time. So if there's a cool thing you saw, like, wow, I bought this, 4 years ago, and you go back and now that it's a 404 error because it doesn't exist anymore. So if you are an Amazon affiliate, this is probably something that you've dealt with and it sucks. But what's great about Amazon is they have a 24-hour cookie, meaning if anyone clicks on a link, one of your Amazon links, within 24 hours and buy something, anything, you get credit for that sale. So I'll give you an example. You click on an Amazon link on my website, and you clicked on a pencil, for example. If if you clicked on a pencil and you go on Amazon and you're searching around and you make this massive $2,000 order, I still get credit for how much money you spent on Amazon, regardless of if that was the original intent of what you were going to buy when you clicked my link. So that's what's cool about Amazon. And then everyone uses Amazon, right? So it's easier to make affiliate income that way when it comes to that affiliate. So even though it's a pain in the ass that the links change pretty often, it's a necessary evil. It's just so you can continue to make that money. All right, so I love Affiliate because it has a report specifically that says, hey, there are broken links on your website for Amazon. And if you want to keep making money, you need to go and fix these broken links. And they'll tell you which links they are, how many clicks each of those links are getting, so you can prioritize which ones are most urgent. So I highly recommend Affiliate for that because it's super, super helpful. So first thing that I do when I'm not working on blog content is fixing problems. And I think some of the most important ones are fixing broken links, different 404 errors, like you have blog posts that you took down, but you didn't remove the links from other blog posts. That's something that you got to do. And then making sure you're adding alt tags to your images that don't have alt tags, and any other things that you think could be wrong with your site. SEMrush is a great way to do this. They are a paid service, but they have a free version, and I'm pretty sure you can do a site audit on the free version of SEMrush. So check that out. Another thing that you could be working on when you're not fixing problems, you're not working on content, is emailing your list. So if you don't have an email list, you should have one. It is an asset in your business. And the benefit of having an email list is it counts as it's a nice blast to some content that hasn't received traffic in a while. So I gave you the example of an article that it used to be one of my top articles, and then the keyword that I was ranking for got competitive, and someone with a higher domain authority is now ranking for it, which means I'm not getting as much traffic as I used to. What I'll then do is do an email out to my list and say, hey, were you interested in blah, 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 blah? Check out my article where I talk about blah, 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 blah. And that's a nice way to get a boost to blog posts. But if you were to create a product, you can also do a blast out to your email list for a product. I've been told that if you don't have an email list and you're thinking about creating a product, don't. Like, that's where you're getting most of your sales from email. So working on your email list is a good way to spend your time. Now, I think it's a good idea to have a weekly newsletter or monthly newsletter, whatever, something where you can stay in touch with your audience. But I've seen some of the top bloggers, like they email their audience like kind of sporadically or like once a month or whenever something cool happens, and they're doing just fine. So that shouldn't deter you from growing your email list. Something that used to frustrate me when it came to people saying, the money's in the list, you got to build your list, is I didn't understand, how do you go about doing that? And I'll tell you the one tip that worked well for me and made it so that it's pretty much on autopilot now as far as like me getting new subscribers. And that is treating your lead magnets, meaning the things you give away for free, so people give you their email address. Treat your lead magnets like you would any blog post on your site. What do I mean by that? When I write a blog post, I also create marketing material for it. I create a Facebook image, a Pinterest image, Twitter image, Instagram. And then I go ahead and I make captions for all of those images in my social media platform, where I say, check out my blog post. I just wrote this. Click here to read it. And then I put it into my social media tool that automatically puts it on a rotation to share with my audience so that my article never dies. Do that exact same thing for your lead magnets. I have a lead magnet, for example, where I have a list of over 100 sponsored channels. So I created social media images for it. I created captions for it. I put it into its own little folder in my social media sharing platform, and I get email subscribers every day. So that's what you should do. If you are having trouble with growing your email list, make sure you treat every lead magnet like you would any blog post. Create that marketing material for it. Make sure it's being shared on a regular basis. And I think that'll make a huge impact. So yeah, when you're not creating content, fixing problems on your blog, you should be sending out emails to your audience fairly regularly. It can be once a week, it can be once every 2 weeks, once a month, once every 2 months, whatever. You should be talking to them occasionally. Backlinking. We already talked about backlinks quite a bit in this call today. But yeah, I do think that should be a part of your strategy. I don't have a set number for it because some months I do get more busy than I should and backlinks get put on the back burner. But if your goal is to grow your blog over time, that has to be a priority. I say make an effort to get at least 2 backlinks a month minimum. And that means either doing a guest post on someone else's blog or finding a website where you can get a do follow link back to your blog, whether that be like something like Medium, like for some content syndication type of situation, being featured on a podcast and having them link back to your website through the podcast, finding, I don't know, some different type of URLs like a .org or .edu. Think about places like that where you can really boost up your rank. That's relevant, of course, is relevant to what you're doing. Sometimes the opportunity lies with a sponsored opportunity. So I talk a lot about sponsored posts. That is my claim to fame when it came to how I started making money initially with my blog. And the sponsored post is when you partner with a brand and say, hey, I will write about your brand on my website if you pay me X amount of dollars. And what's great about those is you're working with a person, which means you have the ability to negotiate. So something you could do that could really boost your website traffic is ask for a backlink when you do a sponsored post. So say like, hey, I'm perfectly okay with writing this blog post. I usually charge $100, but this time I'm going to charge $75 if you put a backlink on your website for me. I remember I did a partnership with Hanes, and this was one of the criteria where they linked back to my blog post from the Hanes website. Oh my goodness, my traffic did amazing. My domain authority shot up like crazy. But there's a lot of opportunities. You don't have to just do a guest post to grow your domain authority and get backlinks. You can look up content syndication websites, look up blogging forums, not forums, blogging, what do you call it? Blog lists. People don't go to them as much anymore. But if they have a higher domain authority than you, it still benefits you to link back to them. And then there's syndication places where they allow you to just write a post on their website. Huffington Post used to do this. They don't anymore. But BuzzFeed does this. So you can write an article on BuzzFeed. No one needs to edit it or anything. And you can link back to your site. And that's a great way to grow your traffic. Or your domain authority, I should say, which ultimately grows your traffic. Right. Let me just see here. I think it's called like a community post. But get creative when it comes to the different ways you can grow your domain authority. If you want to know what the domain authority is for other sites, something you can do is use a plugin, a Chrome extension called Moz. And when you have the Chrome extension on, it tells you what the score is for the domain authority for the website that you're on. So yeah, that's something else. Yeah, so I talked about fixing problems on your site, working with email, working on backlinks. And then the last thing I would say is just growth. One of the best parts about blogging, is that it changes all the time. And this can be a negative thing too. But What I love about that is that means you always have to be learning. You have to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening. And it's really hard to keep up with all the changes. Today it's Google, tomorrow it's Facebook. Yesterday it was a new social media platform. Like, things are changing all the time, and it does have an impact directly on us. So making sure you're spending time just knowing what's happening and ways that you can improve. My favorite way to do this is being in the good blogging Facebook groups where people are having these discussions. My favorite one is the Mediavine Facebook group. And of course, you have to be a Mediavine advertiser to be a part of that group. But if you are an advertiser for them and you're not in that Facebook group, you are missing so much phenomenal content. So make sure you're there. The other one I love is the Rank IQ Facebook group. Again, you have to have Rank IQ as a service before you can join that Facebook group, but these people know what they're talking about. These are people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month with advertising. I mean, it is insane. And they have a lot of knowledge to share, and they're so helpful with sharing. So making sure you're in groups like that where you can gain that knowledge and continue to grow and know what's happening. And even if you're not in those, just find some good mastermind blogging groups where people are talking regularly. People are asking questions about what's happening in the blogging world. What do we need to be worried about? What should we be focused on? And you'll be okay. You'll be good from there. And then, of course, kind of my Q&As, because I'm here and I'm like in these groups and I'm like just relaying information to you guys as far as what I'm hearing, what's going on, and how it impacts us. So that's all she wrote. That's what I want to share with you guys, things that I'm doing in between the content creation parts of blogging. I hope it was helpful. And I hope I was able to answer all of your questions. If you guys have any additional questions after this call, feel free to post them in the comments and I'll make sure to get an answer to you soonish. I can't say exactly when. I have a toddler, so he keeps me pretty busy. But I love talking about blogging. Like I said, I love answering you guys' questions. Thanks for coming here and being here in this blogging environment with me. And I will see you guys next month. Thanks again for coming. See y'all next month. Bye.